Hey, what's up, you guys? My name is Arabesque Star. I am a drag queen from Birmingham, Alabama, and I am here to be your fairy drag mother. Welcome back to my series called How to Be a Drag Queen, where I teach you step by step everything that you need to learn on how to become a fierce drag queen. Now, in part one, I already taught you guys how to do a full face of makeup, but what I didn't teach you how to do is one of the things that I think most people actually struggle with, and that is how to cover your brows. So today we are going to be learning how to cover our eyebrows and give you that perfect clean base to be able to start your face. So if you guys want to see how to be able to block out your brows and how to draw them back on, then go ahead and keep on watching. All right, y'all, we are going to go ahead and get started. The first thing that I start with is a cotton round and my isopropyl alcohol. We are going to clean off our face because, as you can see, baby, my face is glowing because I just did all of my skincare, and that's going to get in the way of the glue. So I'm just going to take a little bit of that alcohol on a cotton round, and I'm just going to go over the brow area, really trying to get everything off, get it nice and dried out so that way the glue sticks as perfect as it can. Now, if your brows are not cleaned up, go ahead and take an eyebrow razor and clean them up. Mine are already clean, so I don't have to do that step. All right, now there's plenty of different glues out there. However, y'all, there's only one that really works, and it's the Elmer's washable glue stick, specifically the purple one. Don't get the white one. The white one does not work as well. I don't know what it is about this purple one, but this purple one's the one. I know you're probably scared about putting glue in your eyebrows. Is it going to rip out my eyebrows? And the truth is, yes, probably. It's what we sacrifice for the art. It will not actually rip out your eyebrows. This is washable. So as long as you take the time to rinse them out, really wash your face and with water, clean them off, then you'll be fine. But if you're just ripping your face off when you get home with a makeup wipe, then yeah, you're probably going to lose some brow hairs. But you're going to look fierce when you do it. So I'm going to go ahead and take my purple glue stick. The direction of your hairs actually grows out this way. So what we're going to do, the first step, we're going to take our glue stick and we're going to push it the opposite way. It's going to feel weird and push all your brow hairs to the front. But usually I would go in and do both at the same time. But if you're new and you're, a little slower trying to learn, just do one brow at a time. I promise if you try to do both brows, it's going to dry down too fast and you're going to be just lost. And then I push it back just a little bit. It can look kind of crazy because we are now going to go in with an eyebrow comb. I usually use a metal one. My metal one broke, so I have to use this plastic one. But you want a comb, not a spoolie, because if you use a spoolie, it just can't push the hair as hard as it's supposed to. So we're going to go in with the comb, specifically this side, not the brush, the comb. I actually like tension in my eyebrow whenever I do this. So I actually pull the skin up a little bit so it's taut, and just pushing down against my skin, I comb all the hairs straight up. So I'm pushing the comb this way, and then I'm pulling it up so that this side of my comb can actually flatten the brow hairs as it pushes them up. Pulling up taut, combing all the hairs up, and we comb and flatten at the same time. And then before this layer is completely dry, I go back in with that glue stick. It's a lot of back and forth, but I promise if you don't want your eyebrows to look like oatmeal, follow my tutorial step by step. Don't skip steps. And while that layer is still wet, we're just gonna push those brow hairs flat to the face. I go in with my same alcohol pad from earlier, and I just surge off the edges. So that way, once I put powder on it later, I don't get this wall of glue that adds even more texture to my face. Then with my finger, I'm just going to push even harder. I know it feels weird, but if you want a sickening brow cover, this is the things you have to do. All right, so now that I look super, super surprised and I've just glued my eyebrows to my forehead, which I did, I'm going to go in with some translucent powder. I actually use the Midnight Neutral set. I love this because it comes in a giant tub. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lightly pat that on top of the brows, just lightly first. And then once you have that light layer, I'm going to push it against my head. We're really pushing that powder into all of those crevices. We're trying to really get the brows as flat as we possibly can. The reason you don't want to push right away and you want to do a light layer over first is because if I just pushed, that glue might stick to my powder puff, and then when I pull it off of my face, all of my eyebrows now stuck to my powder puff and comes off with it. Then I just dust off the excess. Now, if you're just doing pictures online, one layer is enough. If your eyebrows are super thin, 1 layer is probably enough. Most of you are probably going to have to do 2 or maybe even 3 layers depending on how thick your eyebrows are. I'm probably going to go in and do 1 more layer. Now that we've powdered, I'm going to go back in with my glue stick, and we're not going to push forward this time because obviously the brows are glued down now. We're just going to go straight in and go directly upwards, just like we did before. This is just adding another glue layer. It's going to mix with that powder that we just put down and hopefully fill in all of those cracks. Same thing as before, I'm going to take a little bit of that isopropyl alcohol and I'm just going to wipe off the edges. I'm not pushing hard, I'm literally just like rubbing over it just so it kind of melts down those edges. All right, so this time, once you get about to this like halfway point where they're not really purple, but they're not fully clear either, that is when I'm going to go in with any cheap, I use the e.l.f. powder foundation just because it's so full coverage. I'm going to go in with this powder puff and we are really just going to push, once again, light layer first, and then you push harder with that foundation powder, and that is going to be what helps us with our initial coverage of the brow. Hi. You're fine. No one can see you, and it's also a video that I'm going to edit. What lights? Did you rainbow them? You went out there and turned every single one rainbow?
Happy Pride!
Why? Weirdo.
Pride month.
All right, so now that we have foundation powdered our brows, you can see they're already pretty covered, and you could stop here. But for extra coverage, if your eyebrows are as dark as mine, I go in with just this cheap little concealer. It's a peachy toned concealer. I don't know who came up with like use orange. Please don't use orange. Nobody's hair is like true blue. You can see how this one is like even kind of like close to my skin tone. I'm just gonna do a very light layer to cancel out the blue tones that are in my black eyebrows. Then I'm going to go in with a brush. I prefer a brush, not a sponge, because my sponges are wet. And once again, that product underneath there is water soluble, so I prefer not to use water on them. This brush has a little bit of my concealer on it. That's fine. I'm about to put concealer there anyways, so it's fine. And then for the very last step, I'm going to go back in with my powder puff and my foundation powder, and I'm just going to powder back on top of all of that. And you can see now, boom, I have no eyebrows. And that's how easy it is to remove your eyebrows. Now, let's go ahead and show you how to draw them back on. So when it comes to drawing your eyebrows back on, I suggest either using an eyeshadow, an eyebrow powder, an eyebrow pomade. I just don't advise using like a pencil because that's going to disrupt the hairs that you have underneath. Anything that can just lightly glide on the surface is going to be what you want. For your eyebrows, when you're in drag specifically, obviously if you're just doing a crazy character or whatever, you don't have to follow these rules. But for drag, I really suggest starting your eyebrow about where your natural brow would start. When you're in drag and you're performing, you want to be able to emote. And if I put my eyebrows all the way up here, they won't move with my face like they would if they were down here. So this is specifically just to kind of help you continue to be able to emote on stage. This is the like trick to do. You put them right where your nostril is, and that's where the front of my brow needs to end. I personally like to have my arch, obviously depending on what style of drag you're going for, might change the way you do your brows. I like to have my bottom of the arch of my brow be at the top of where my natural brow was. And then the end of your eyebrow, you want to go from your nostril to the end of your eye. Boom. That's where my eyebrow is going to go. Then you just connect the dots. And it can look crazy right now. We're going to go in and clean it up in a second. But they're super thin like this. I always feel like I look like a Disney villain. Like, oof. Yeah. You can decide how thick you want your brows to be. You want them to be the same thickness from the front to the arch. And then from the arch down is where you go to the point. Don't try to like thin them out like here. That's going to look weird. Keep it the same thickness all the way up until your arch. That's how thick I want my brow to be. Then all the way up here, I need it to be the exact same thickness. And I just connect those two together. And then from the tip of my brow up to that thickness is how I finish that off. We should be looking semi-even right now. So now with the fluffier brush, I'm just gonna fill in that brow completely with that same powder. It can be messy because we're about to go back in and clean it up, so it's fine. And once you get really good at it, you can skip the sketching it out step and just go in with this brush and then clean it up if you're trying to like save time. I know it looks crazy, but you know, stay with me, I promise. All right, so now I just go in with my flat concealer brush and a concealer that's lighter than my skin tone. And we're gonna start cleaning up under that brow. This is where I start really being able to see the true shape of that brow. And then to blend out the front of that eyebrow, I just take that same concealer and I just pop that right in between the two and kind of blend it into the front of each brow. And then I can just go in with this kind of like bony nude color, and I'm going to use that to set right under my brow bone. And then just in the very, very top arch of my brow, I'm going to take this super, super light color and I'm just going to pop that right there. This is going to kind of help that illusion of the brow. Now you could stop here, or you can go in with a liquid liner or a brow marker, whichever you have. This is actually an eyeliner pen that has slightly dried out. And I'm going to use this just to draw on some tiny little hairs, just to make it a little bit more realistic. And I literally just draw on some brow hairs. And then once you've got this, now you've learned how to block out your brows. And now I have the perfect base to be able to start my eyeshadow, be able to do all the crazy fun drag looks that you want to be able to do. This is how you do it. So I hope that you have had so much fun learning today. I hope that you guys have learned maybe a few tricks. Even if you're somebody who's been doing drag for a while, let me know if you've learned anything new today. I have been your fairy drag mother today. My name is Arabesque Star. Thank you guys so much for being here. Make sure you follow me on my Instagram and my TikTok, both at Arabesque Star, for more videos outside of this YouTube channel. Yeah, I think my brows look sickening. I look kind of crazy right now, but that's because I have no face on. So once you have a face on, girl, it's over. I promise. Make sure that you guys stay tuned to next week and see what kind of fun video we have coming up. This week, I'm so excited because All Stars 11 premieres this Friday, so we will be doing a review of every single episode, so make sure that you guys stick around for that. I have been Arabesque Star. Thank you so much for joining me, and until next time, bye.